Birth education prepared me to have the birth that my baby was meant to have. We learned that the baby is going to come however they're going to come, and it's part of their journey. It's exactly what's meant to be. The first thing I did was look up classes. What class did I want to take? And we found HypnoBirthing, and that seemed like a good fit for what we wanted to do, which was be natural, work with the body as it is, and then lots of reading. So we read the HypnoBirthing book, of course, and Elevating Childcare by Janet Lansbury, and lots of blog posts from people that have gone before us, Pregnant Chicken, Baby Chick, a bunch of, some of those are humorous and some of them are full of information and knowledge. And then got a doula and thought that was such a great idea that we got 2 doulas. We got a birth doula and a postpartum doula, and they both afforded something different. The birth doula was support and reminding us to set our boundaries, and everything that we wanted to do was okay. It was our choice. And the postpartum doula basically ushered us into being parents and was there for, oh my gosh, they're crying and we don't know what that cry means, or should we feed them now, or change, everything that we thought we knew, but then in the moment kind of disappeared from our brain. She was there for that. So they both were invaluable, and we would recommend anybody to get one of each or 2 of each. Get a bunch of doulas, just have a bunch of doulas, and choose your doctor wisely. Choose somebody that supports you and the kind of birth that you want to have. And if something doesn't sit right, question it. It's your body, it's your decision. And if you don't feel comfortable, it will impact you in the room. So you need to find somebody that makes you feel good and wants to be a team with you in that process. So we were in the middle of our classes and learning everything we needed to know to be ready to have a vaginal birth. And we were excited for that. And about 32 weeks went in, did an ultrasound, and baby had not flipped and was not ready to go. But we were told, we have time. So we started monitoring. Is she moving? Is she moving? Feeling around. Nope, not moving. And every week that went by, she still wasn't turning. So went through body work and chiropractic and acupuncture, and got to the point of having a ECV procedure to try and kind of force her into where we wanted her to be. And that was not effective either. And at 38 weeks, we had a conversation with our doctor, that this was not ideal, this isn't what we wanted, but she had made the decision that we would need a gentle C-section. So for the first time, I had all these questions because it wasn't even something that had been considered. It was, well, what does that mean? What does this look like? What about my recovery? What do I do? And it was nice because it was a dialogue. It wasn't, a command. It was just what was. And we agreed, obviously, because baby's coming out one way or the other, and started, preparing mentally for that. But one of the things we got from taking our classes is that it was okay. Whatever kind of birth we had was okay. We just needed to be prepared and to make sure that we were comfortable with what decisions we did get to make. So we went to the hospital, we got checked in early in the morning, very early in the morning, and got suited up, ready to go. And our doctor came in and talked to us about kind of how things were going to run. And it was very quick. It was so much quicker than I thought it was going to be. But got into the room, everything taken care of, and probably in less than 5 minutes, I went from baby in my tummy to baby being held up like the Lion King over this drape, and her eyes were wide open, and I think my eyes were wide open, like, who are you? And I'm so excited to meet you. And once we confirmed that everything was okay, breathing, all the good stuff was there, then they brought her over and we were able to have the skin-to-skin contact and, you know, basically do all the things that we had expected to do immediately after a vaginal delivery. Baby just came through the side door, not that much different. And then we got back to our room and our doula was there to help with the first latch and helping us kind of, you know, adjust, because you feel a little bit like a deer in the headlights. You know, all these things are happening so fast and you walked in there as, you know, 2 people and now there's 3. So it went very quickly. But again, our support people, our doctor, everything we learned from our classes, all of that came together in those 5 minutes to make sure that we were okay and everything went well and smooth. Having the gentle cesarean, we both felt at peace, because it's corny and kind of cliche, but knowledge is power. And when you walk in there and you know what you're looking at and what the experience is going to be like, because you have that knowledge, you're just calm. And the one thing that you learned at the beginning of class is that fear shuts everything down. And when you're afraid, it makes any kind of birth that you have hard, you know, and it's hard enough as it is, so let's not make it harder. And we were able to be at peace because, you know, as she's lifted out of my belly and at the top of the drape, she doesn't have any vernix. So she was like ready. She knew exactly what she was doing. And again, not necessarily what we wanted, but what was supposed to be. And I think that's a perfect example of what happens when you're a parent. You have an expectation of what you think it's going to be, and then your child informs you that that is not a thing. That is not going to happen, and you learn to roll with it. And when you're not such a flexible person, you have to learn to be a flexible person. And so as you kind of go from being 2 people to a family, all that changes. So when you have the education and you have all of the components dialed in, it just flows. It just, you know, you start your day as one person and you come home with another person and everything is good. So when you're a parent, everything feels like you need to have a plan, but it should really be more of an intention, because the more you try to plan, the more your plan will not happen. I think one of the biggest things that happens is that we're naturally wanting a certain experience. You know, I'm gonna have a vaginal birth and, you know, the stars are gonna line up and rainbows and sunshine and all these wonderful things. And when you start taking the classes and you hear about other people's experience, every single one of them started out with this is what they wanted to do, and then this is what happened. And the more you hear that, you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to move into a different place. I can't have a say-so 100% because it's happening to your body, but there's another being involved and they're very much in charge of what's happening. So they know when they're coming, they know how they're coming, and the focus shifts to how do I help them have the best experience in doing that? How do we stay calm? How do we give them the space to do what they already know how to do? So you just show up. It's the first experience in learning how to show up for your child and however they need you to be there. Not how you want to be there, but how they need you to be there. So I will use the advice moment to kind of give a shout out to the team of people, you know, that helped make this happen for us. Our birth doula was Debbie Canoni, and I love her to pieces because she is a wealth of knowledge. Like, she just oozes knowledge, and she reminds you that you're in charge. So she's there to support you, and she's got all these tools in her toolbox to help with, you know, the birth process itself and the initial breastfeeding and all of that. But at the same time, like, she's in your corner saying, you know, you've got this, you can do this. And if someone else doesn't like your choice, tough, like, it's still your choice. So she was amazing. Get a doula. Get lots of doulas. We had Dr. Cap up in Encinitas, and he totally believes in the power of what moms can do. So he's not an obstacle, he is your teammate. And I think the biggest part is that he just wants you to have the space to do what you're meant to do. And he's there for safety, but other than that, he lets you do what you need to do. And that's a very empowering thing, to have somebody that's more hands-off, to let nature take its course. And then when we got home, we had Anita Butler for our postpartum doula, and she is amazing in all senses of the word, from being able to help me step by step with the breastfeeding so that I didn't give up right out of the gate, to helping us know when we should be waking up, what to look for, is baby too warm, is baby too cold, all of those things that help you feel confident in your ability to do it yourself. She gave us that. So much so that we had originally agreed to a timeline, and we found my husband asking to extend it and then extend it again. And he tried to take her car keys so she couldn't leave. So I think that's a pretty good testimony of what they all mean to the process. And yes, we made a baby by ourselves, but we couldn't have got her here successfully and calmly without everybody else and their contribution to the effort.